Welcome back to the Synopsis recaps. Today, I will show you a drama 1997 title. Good Will Hunting. Spoilers ahead. What process and take care Will Hunting is sitting in his residence analyzing a book. His in-ear friend, Chucky Sullivan, drives to his region to choose him up, will be part of him. They get with inside the automobile and go away at MIT. Professor Gerald assigns his college students a theorem to resolve via way of means of the quit of the semester, including that whoever solves it'll have their accomplishment posted in MIT newspaper. Well, as a janitor, the given theorem is written on a board with inside the hallway. Will this quietly mopping the ground after the scholars go away? He appears on the questions written at the board with Marvel. Will and Chucky visit a bar. He is in a mild temper notwithstanding in order to comes to a decision to go away early. He is going domestic and works on the theory he noticed in advance that day. The subsequent day, he consists of out his cleansing obligations even as fixing the concept at the board with inside the hallway. Will and Chucky are playing baseball. Will hold sitting Chucky complaining that he is crowding the plate. Chuck, he mentions going to a Harvard bar the subsequent week and Will appears to agree. Gerald is attending an MIT alumni reunions. His college students come and ask him approximately the individual that noticed the theory. He is amazed to peer the answer written at the board. He asks distinct college students in the event that they salted, however nobody appears to return back forward. Will Chucky, Morgan and Billy are attending a baseball recreation. Will identifies one of the attendees as his adolescence bully. They ultimately depart to get meals at the same time as using they realize Will's bully misbehaving once more. The institution selections a combat with him and the police officers display up and arrest Will. Gerald enters his magnificence and notices an uncommon variety of college students present. Everyone is curious, approximately the person that noticed the theory. He asks for the mysterious individual to expose himself, however nobody speaks up afterwards. Will is fixing a query at the board and Gerald spots out. He harshly tells him he cannot graffiti over there. Will walks away fast. Gerald later seems on the board and realizes, properly as a genius, Will is going to the Harvard bar together along with his pals as planned. Morgan makes amusing of him for buying fired from his activity as a janitor. Chucky flirts with to Harvard college students and legal guidelines, approximately having a record's elegance with one in all them. A guy named Clark indicates up. He begins off evolved to bitterly insult Chucky with the aid of displaying off his understanding of history. He belittles him for having little information of the issue. Will jumps into the communique. He outsmarts Clark and calls him out for plagiarizing his comments on records and being unoriginal. Clark is left feeling embarrassed. He attempts to hurl insults again at but he handles the state of affairs well and Clark backs off. Later pupil, one of the women Chucky turned into flirting with, comes and talks to Will. She suggests her hobby in him and offers him her quantity. They talk going out. Someday Gerald visits the Homes and Grounds workplace searching for Will. He is advised that he did not come to paintings today. They should touch his parole officer for the reason that Will that is task via it. Will pay attention. Court justifying himself or hitting a cop. The decide says he has a file of misconduct. He additionally mentions Will dwelling in different foster homes. He were given eliminated from 3 of them because of extreme bodily abuse. His costs aren't disregarded in his bail. Money is about to $50,000 afterwards. He calls pupil from prison and tests up on her, asking if they may grasp out soon. He is taken to meet Gerald, who gives to assist him out on conditions. Firstly, he'll comply with paintings extra on math. And secondly, he's going to see a therapist. Will takes the therapist component instead. Gently Will works on math with Gerald and that they reputedly have an amazing time. He visits one of a kind therapists and struggles to open up. He continues taking them gently and mocking them. He would not pay attention to anybody. At final, Gerald makes a decision to make Will meet with Dr. Sean McGuire, his roommate from college, who is a therapist. Now, Gerald is going to fulfill Sean at paintings. They speak approximately how they have not visible every different because Sean's spouse surpassed away. Meanwhile, we're going to tells Chucky approximately his probation and counseling arrangement. Gerald convinces Sean to suggest Will as he is quite wise and really well worth a shot. He additionally mentions how they are each from South Boston. Will meets with Sean and he behaves casually. They mentioned books and exercising. He's very conceited. He begins off evolved speaking approximately a portray and Sean's workplace. He mocks his portray and finally ends up making assumptions and pronouncing derogatory feedback approximately Sean's spouse, to which he reacts very seriously, reminding Will of wherein the bounds lie after Will leaves Gerald, genuinely tell Sean that he is aware if he does not need to look Will once more. However, Sean is prepared to peer him once more subsequent week. Sean remains up at some point of the nighttime, misplaced in his mind. Will and Skylar spend time collectively. She mentions her schooling and elite historical past and approximately going to Stanford to observe medicine. After graduating, they experience every difference employer and feature a great time. Will meet Sean in line with timetable and Sean takes him out of doors to go to the lake. He tells him, he idea approximately his feedback on his portray, because of which he stayed up at nighttime and got here to understand in an effort to his best a child, and he does not realize what he is speaking approximately. He is aware of Will has in no way been out of Boston if she, or how lovely that ceiling became in man or woman. If he requested him approximately women, he ought to communicate plenty, however should in no way understand what it become want to sense definitely content material in a person's presence if he become requested approximately war. He would not understand the primary factor approximately experiencing one. He does not recognize actual love or misplaced due to the fact hasn't skilled any of it. While speak me Sean mentions his spouse death because of cancer. He does not understand Will to be a confident guy. He is only a scared kid, looking to act tough. He presumed the whole lot approximately Sean's life. By searching at a portray, he is aware of Will as an in himself and went through tough times, soaking his lifestyles. Be understood with the aid of using analyzing Oliver Twist. He can simplest apprehend him if he is inclined to open up and speak approximately his reports. But he sees a good way to is just too scared to open up. Sean leaves and the whole thing slowly sinks in for Will guess nighttime will name student from a pay telecell smartphone whilst it rains heavily. She selections up, however he does not say something and ends. The name Will meets with Sean for his or her remedy consultation. He stays quiet for the duration of and leaves while the time is over. Sean realizes he might not speak until he desires to a few time. Will this running on fixing mathematical issues and outsmarts a polished and found out guy, together along with his answers. Gerald is impressed. Announcements are polished and discovered guy with his answers. Gerald is impressed. Will sooner or later begins off evolved speak me to Sean while he first cracks a joke. He likely talks approximately how he went on a date and failed to care to sincerely take a look at in with Skylar. Again, Sean calls him, and beginner will insist that he is aware of what he is doing, pronouncing, she's distinctive from different women he has been with. Sean says he ought to name her, however he says he does not need to destroy what he has a gift through studying her extra due to the fact then their dating will become boring. Sean mocks him for his approach, through announcing that, because of his behavior, he gets through existence, by no means without a doubt understanding all and sundry, and mentions his personal spouse's little conduct that simplest he knew approximately they left collectively. He says those trivial recollections are what surely rely and those pick out who they allow into their worlds. He reminds Will he's an ideal. Neither is student. They simply need to determine out if they're best for every different. And the best manner to discover is through giving it a shot. Well, asks if he's ever notion approximately getting remarried. However he suggests his loyalty to his lifeless spouse will use his Sean's very own declaration in opposition to him, pronouncing that he's going to get through lifestyles, in no way truly understanding anybody. Will is going to go to Skylar and apologizes for ghosting her. He asks if they are able to exit once more. Student says she is busy with university paintings. She has to assign the proton spectrum. I started out. Will leaves and fast returns with the solution to her task, pronouncing he could not wait until later to spend time together along with her. They attended canine race collectively, wherein Skylar's canine takes component to her canine wins. She involves recognized to be able to grow. Wasn't even there. Watch the entire recreation due to the fact he changed into spending time together along with his destiny. Wife will now no longer see him for lacking out on such an crucial event. He expresses no regrets for the time he spent together along with his spouse during his lifestyles. Will and Skylar spend time collectively in proportion intimacy. She asks him while he's going to display her his area and allow her meet together along with his buddies and brothers. He says he's going to take her to fulfill them. Chucky, Billy and Morgan join up with Will and Skylar. They inform every different humorous tales and converse. However, we're going to nonetheless appears reluctant to expose Skylar's His non-public lifestyles, tested on a few humorously pronouncing that if she noticed his dwelling conditions, he get dropped like a horrific habit. Will manages to steer him to provide him his automobile keys. Gerald meets Sean to speak approximately. Will he says he must communicate to him approximately his destiny as he has been getting plenty of task gives that in shape Will's capacity. Sean does not suppose we're going to is prepared yet. The verbal exchange receives heated as a war arises. Sean desires Will to determine out what he desires to do in lifestyles on his personal and Gerald wishes him to pursue arithmetic. He says he dispatched Will do. And a process assembly Will sends Chucky to the task assembly as opposed to him Chucky behaves casually and leaves the humans of the agency. Confused student asks, what if he has a photographic reminiscence thinking about his intelligence in the way something as tough as organic chemistry is so smooth for him? Despite analyzing it simplest for amusing, he explains how he's simply obviously accurate at studies. They get affectionate with every different later pupil. Expresses her want for Will to return back together along with her to California. It receives critical while Will in reality suggests his sphere. He's an abused orphan. Skylar tells him she loves him, however he says he would not love her shattering her. Tom makes nicely privy to how he need to be appreciative of Gerald for operating so difficult with him. The state of affairs receives tense. When Gerald asks him approximately the task assembly Will says he had a date and dispatched Chucky instead, Gerald isn't happy to hear. This Will says he does not need to spend his existence explaining stuff to humans. Gerald says he should display a few appreciation. Will brags approximately how smooth the evidence is for him whilst Gerald struggles to clear up it. He is the evidence as Gerald miserably admits Will has extra ability than him. He is unhappy that he simply throws it all away. Will is going to a process assembly for the National Security Agency and explains why he would not paintings for them with a totally witty and specific explanation. Schott asks Will if he has a soulmate and he denies having one. In the course of their dialogue Will receives protective approximately how low-paying jobs are not considered honorable. Sean knows there's honor in them. He attempts to dig deeper through asking nicely what he sincerely desires to do together along with his lifestyles. However, we're going to simply get a few realistic examples. And this time Sean truly asks him to go away due to the fact he might not tolerate his foolishness. Will and Skylar have a bittersweet Telecel smartphone name. He calls to test in earlier than she leaves. She tells him she loves him, however he does not say something. He sits on a bench by myself, even as Skylar boards her flight for California. Gerald is pissed off approximately. Will now no longer displaying up for his consultation with Sean. Will and Chucky are at the development site. He makes Will comprehend how he is throwing away all his capability and being ungrateful for the intellect he has been blessed with. Sean and Gerald have a fierce argument over Will, with Sean protecting him through announcing he has suffered from the worry of abandonment his whole lifestyles. He is emotionally scarred. Gerald most effective wishes him to pursue arithmetic and Sean receives pissed off. They angrily yelling resent every different for his or her respective faults. In the beyond Will walks in and Gerald leaves. Sean noted sending his record to the choose for evaluation. They communicate approximately their reports with bodily abuse. He tells him he broke up with Skylar. Sean makes Will realize that none of what even do him turned into his fault. He breaks down and hugs Sean at the same time as crying badly. Will rides the bus on my own and spends time wondering Schott and we will meet for his or her very last consultation. Will mentions his new task which he were given through and possibility furnished via way of means of Gerald. Sean offers him his quantity and that they hug. Will turns 21 and his pals display him the automobile they constructed for him. They are satisfied collectively. Gerald go to Sean. They each apologize to every different and get beyond their grudges. Will forced to Sean's location and leaves a realized Chucky. And the men go to Will's place to choose him up and discover him. God, Chucky is satisfied that he ultimately stepped out of his consolation zone. Sean reads the notice and unearths out, we're going to ditch the task and went to Pier Skylar. It makes him satisfied. Will begin his lifestyles, declaring pressure to California to begin over with Skylar, and take a jump into an unpredictable destiny. The give up. The end. Like and subscribe to watch more videos like this, and don't forget to turn on your notifications. That really helps my channel. Thanks for watching.